welcome to the hometown campaign launch of Steve D's Run for Governor. Can you believe we're here doing this? I was asked to just start the speaking portion of the evening, and I thought about it and thought that a lot of you guys would probably come tonight with a few questions. One is, why would Steve do this? As one of my good friends said, why would he want to do that? And what is he going to do? What does he stand for? What is his platform? Those are great questions. And then I know a lot of you, because you know me, probably are wondering, what does Tara think about this? So Steve is going to speak in a moment, and he'll address the first two questions, and I'll take a shot at that last one. So as you know, I've known this guy for a really, really long time. Really, 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 really long. And for a really long time, he's been coming to me with very big ideas. This, I have to admit, is one of the biggest and craziest. However, it's not the first, and it doesn't come out of the blue. I guess that's an important thing for you to know, is that he has been aspiring to this for a very long time and has been asking me about it, and it never just really fit into our lives. You know, we have 3 kids, we've been raising them, and we have jobs that we love, and there have been thousands of trees to plant and many outbuildings to build, and so it just didn't really fit. But I think, you know, the time is right. He is really ready. The kids are jazzed. We are all jazzed as a family to make a difference, and he is so passionate and compassionate and just ready with energy that, you know, you can't keep a good man down. He just really wants to do this. And so what I think in the short way is that I think he would be excellent. I think he would be a really great governor because he's a really great leader. And isn't that what we want? You know, when I started to think about it, I'm like, you know, he has been doing this for years. He has been leading people and had these vision. You know, he's a visionary, and then he manages, somewhat because of his brilliance and somewhat because of my, you know, always check with reality, that he manages to like get it done. He manages to do it. He can see the big picture, and he can also find the way to get there. And it's just happened over and over again. And I could spend a lot of time like giving you examples of that, but I know that you guys want to get on with it. So, you know, if you want, I'll be glad to talk with you. But one thing I do want to tell you, a really quick thing, that as I started to think about this, really the first time this happened was before we were married, and it's one of the funniest, it's just kind of crazy. He came to me and said, you know what, I have a chance to get an office building, this like little rectangle, plain building, and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to take it down, I'm going to fold it down, I'm going to put it on a flatbed truck, and I'm going to bring it to Reedfield, and I'm going to put it back up again. And I'm going to make a house. And I'm like, okay, and that's going to be our home. And I'm like, cool. And sure enough, and it's still standing too in Reedfield. So that was like, you know, kind of a glimpse of the future with Steve, is that he has wonderful ideas and can really make them happen. He can make dreams come true, which he has done for me many a time during the last 30 some odd years. So in closing, you know, I just wanted to let you guys know that he has shared his energy, his love of life, his vision, his brilliance, his passion with the family and this community for many, many years. And I think most of us have benefited some way, shape, form from that. And it's time, and he's ready, and I'm ready to share it with the rest of the world on a bigger stage and with the state of Maine. And so, having said that, I think he'd be an awesome, awesome governor, and I'm going to let him take over. Thank you.
Well, That's kind of hard to follow when the person that you love the most in the universe says that you've made their dreams come true for the last X number of years. I'm glad to know that's the case. But Tara's correct. I have thought about this easily for 20 years, and I always chicken out at the last minute because I love my job, like passionately love teaching and coaching and still do. So it's really hard to envision doing anything other than that. But I want to thank you all for coming here, for sure. I'm really humbled that this many people that I know and who obviously care about me and I care about you, that it's really cool to have you all here. Having you here is actually one of the reasons why I felt I could do this, because I decided to run for governor, and I knew that I wouldn't be running alone, right? That I'd be running with a team like this, and my hope is that all of you will be willing to be part of that, and that a whole bunch of other people in the state will as well. You know, tonight I want to share two values with you that really resonate with me when I thought about running, and it's really my guiding philosophy when I think about the campaign and when I think about being governor. Public service and teamwork. I'm not your average candidate for governor, and I know it. I'm not a businessman, not a state senator, not even in the House of Representatives or anything cool like that. But I do take public service really seriously. I'm a public servant, and I love that aspect of my life. Public service to me means recognizing that our communities depend on working together, right, toward common ends, and that I think it's so important that we recognize that our freedoms and the supports we enjoy as individuals, the things that we rely on in pursuit of our own happiness, absolutely can happen. They're made possible by the sustained welfare of our community life. And that's just a piece that I think is super missing in politics and on the national stage and on the state stage. And I want it to be different. I began my career as a public servant, like I said, nearly 40 years ago, and I have loved every minute of it. It is indeed bittersweet to be thinking about even leaving it for hopefully 4 years, you know, maybe more, we'll see. But, you know, it's worth it. In the end, the sacrifice, I think, is worth it. And for me, teaching is definitely about dedicating my time and my energy to working with the kind, talented young people in our community. And a bunch of them are here tonight, and that thrills me beyond all comprehension. And it means helping them grow and reminding them of a couple of things. One is that it's really important and a show of strength, actually, to ask for help. And I think that's something which is missing in so many people who run for office. There seems to be this compelling drive to act like we know all the answers and not be able to ask for help. And I know clearly that I don't know all the answers. And I know clearly that I need lots of help to be able to do this. This isn't something that someone could do on their own. I believe that returning a public service mindset to the Blaine House is something that's going to achieve a brighter future for Mainers. And it's going to let us come together and work in a nonpartisan way. That really matters to me. I'm running as a Democrat, but I really am running to be governor of all of Maine. Absolutely. I'm right from the start. And that sometimes you don't hear that in the primaries because you got to win the primary first, right? But I think that's important. You can't run a campaign one way and then turn around and govern another. It's got to all fit together in my mind, right? So I believe I want to just share a couple of quick examples of policy-related things that connect for me. One is when I think about coming together as a community. Our community health center that we have at Maranacook, I think, is a great example of that. We lost funding for that from the state. State support, all the school-based health centers did. And yet our community, and with the foresight of the people who run that health center, figured out a way to make it still happen. And that place is amazing. It's an example of what I think can be the very, very best, because it's centered on preventative care, not sick care, not reactive care, and it's the kind of health care, in my mind, that improves the quality of life and in the long run will lower healthcare costs, because we're taking care of people right from the start. Our state would do well, I think, to learn from small communities like Reedfield about those kind of solutions. I also want to talk just for a minute about community-centered reforms in terms of education. Right? We have to recognize that education is a system. We tend to treat it like it's a separate silo, like we have to fix our schools, but really it all fits together. Our healthcare system, our childcare system, it all fits. We have to do all of those things. And you know, I think that we have to try to get to the point where we have equal opportunities for everybody who lives in Maine, every child who lives in Maine, no matter what corner of the state they live in, right? And that means better state support for all kinds of things, higher education, for vocational schools. We want to equip kids, our young people, to be able to excel and to lead, right? That's, everybody always says that our kids are the future. We have to act that way. We have to go beyond just saying it. But equal opportunities, they also can't be generated by education alone. Right? We also need to be willing to invest in long-term solutions. Things like high-speed internet, other pieces of infrastructure that we are reluctant sometimes to invest in. There's a giant return on those things. I think we need to pay attention to that. I mean, those are just a few of the priorities. I don't want this to be a huge policy speech, because I think that you can find that on the website, you can find it on the Facebook, that's out there, right? The bottom line for me goes beyond policy, and it's about the culture of the way we govern, right? I believe the key to enacting sustainable change in Maine is to strengthen Maine's communities by fostering a statewide sense of teamwork. That's the other part. Talked about public service. Teamwork also matters. We need respectful deliberation between citizens and politicians in the state, lawmakers. That's the only way to change the situation that I feel Maine families are in. Here's the rub, though, and I think we have to really think about this. The current system is absolutely set up for established candidates to have the easier road to get elected. Our campaign is already bumping up against this reality. Things won't change if that continues. We all need to do the work necessary to give a voice to all Mainers. It's an impossible job for one person alone. It's an impossible job for one campaign. We all need to be part of that movement. And when I think about that, in the ideal world, one of the things that I often talk to my athletes about is the idea of being all in. We even go a little bit further. There's a famous Olympic skier who has the mantra of all in without hope. And when you first hear that, you go, what? But what that means is you're all in. You don't hope things go well. You're going to make things go well. Right? I love that thought. Right? Sure, we all want to hope for a better future. But if we really want that better future, we all have to work for it, and we all have to work for it. You know, in my dream, we'll run a community-based campaign with all of you in this room and a whole bunch of other people. I want you to be able to leave here tonight saying, I'm going to talk to somebody else I know every single day about this campaign. If all of you did that, and a whole bunch of other people that you talked to did that, that's how we can change things so that it's the community that elects the next leader of the state of Maine, not a political party as such, not something that's beyond the power of individuals to change. That's where I want to see us go. So, as we get done, I want to remind you that what I hope to do is reignite that sense of public service in the state of Maine, right? Because it's so necessary for building the state to get where we want to be, and to build our communities with a spirit of teamwork, right? Build the larger community of Team Maine is the way I think about it. and that teamwork has to extend to the campaign. This is more serious than I usually am for this long, okay? And it's kind of weird, all right? Because I'm sure my students are thinking, man, he had teased at least 10 of us in the course of a talk this long by the time we got to now. And so it is weird. I promise you that we will reach a point where I will tease all of you in public again, okay? And thank you. But I wanted to lay things out for you. I just feel so strongly that I just think people are ready to have it done a different way. And I think we can do it, all right? So the way I think about it now, to go back to the slogan, is that we're on a long, unpaved road, right? On a long journey. But as a Mainer, I really, truly believe that we can get there from here, okay? I believe it. Thanks for putting up with what was, without a doubt, the most serious talk I have ever given, okay? Without question, but I will do better to try to emulate my wife, Tara, to be a little more relaxed. It's kind of weird to even be up here like this. Feel free to tease me about this also, by the way, okay? Because I deserve it. I think I've worn a tie, until I started this campaign, I've probably worn a tie maybe, most high school graduations I would pull it off. But, you know, once or twice a year. That's true. That is true. I typically had to borrow my ties. That is also a true fact. But thank you again for coming tonight. Enjoy. We have some great music coming up, including what I understand is a pretty fancy new campaign song by the same name. Get ready. I think you're all going to have to sing. Thank you very much.